I'm Terrence James, and today I've got the keys for a brand new Volkswagen Atlas Cross Sport R-Line. And the question that I want to answer today is, has Volkswagen ruined the wonderful recipe they have by trying to keep up with the technological Joneses with the Atlas? Because one thing that this always was it was always an SUV and never pretended to be anything else. It wasn't a ton of fun, but it was easy to live with and an amazing value. I always said that these were a budget Audi. So let's make sure that this is still the SUV that has always made this a claim to fame and a sure shot at sales success. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this to a drive to where it probably is going to end up, a hockey arena, or you can substitute whatever sport in your country that you've got to get up at a terrible hour for with the kids to load them in here. And then we're going to do a bunch of tests along the way and some of the things that you would probably do on the way to that sporting event. So let's go. And we are off. So the first thing I want to do is give a shout out to Delmar Motors in my hometown of London, Ontario, for loaning us this vehicle. They truly are a great dealership. It's got a beautiful brand new building here. But one of the things I love, besides the fact that they support the show, is that they are truly car enthusiasts. So obviously they're Volkswagen people, but they like their cars. And if you see two of the reviews that we've done on a Ford Focus RS and a 1LE Camaro are on employees from here, salespeople actually in management. So and there's other people here that have awesome cars as well. So anyway, how about the Atlas here? So what has changed? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But one of the things that I want to talk about, as we did kind of in the opening there, is the story behind the Atlas, which is Volkswagen decided for the North American market in 2018 that they would give us a real SUV. And when I say real SUV, what I mean is sometimes these companies, they try to make fun ones. And yes, this show, one of the things is it's real reviews for real decisions, but it's also trying to find the fun in every drive. But what I say about SUVs is it's quite the opposite, because try not to get sucked into the 500 horsepower red brake SUVs trying to give you the fun that you think that you're looking for, because
it's a lie.
Because really, most people, like myself, you've got to either give up a fun car to get something a little bit more practical here, so that's not going to fit the bill, or it's just not going to be as sporty as you're hoping if you get it, unless you're buying a Lamborghini Urus or something like that, or a Porsche Taycan Turbo or something like that, you know what I mean? Or Cayenne Turbo, I should say. Yeah, so, just get an SUV for an SUV, and that is what is actually fun, because it's not going to drive you crazy and make you really not want to make that payment. So when we talk about payments, well, the Atlas for this new refresh, it really hasn't changed. For the normal Atlas, you're going to have your four different price ranges there, or your different trims. You got anywhere from basically 52 to 62, which would be very similar for the Cross Sport here, which is the little bit more fun, sporty version of the Atlas. So you got your comfort line to start, but then they've got this new one here on the Atlas, not the Cross Sport, which is pretty cool. It's a bit of a more off-road. A lot of companies are doing that, so you're going to get 18-inch wheels on that one, a little bit more rugged of a look. But me personally, if you can afford it, I always like these top Execline trims with the R-Line, which they've been doing for a while for Volkswagen. To me, it really is a budget Audi in here, and I am a Volkswagen owner. If you follow the show, I have a GTI, and it's a love-hate relationship, so it's not that I'm overly biased here, as we try to stay neutral. Love-hate, because I've had some problems with the vehicle, but that is German engineering. But it is an amazing, amazing vehicle. Nonetheless, that GTI, I mean.
You can operate.
Oh, it's talking to me. Well, I don't want to talk to you right now. I'm in the middle of a YouTube show. Anyway, it's polite nonetheless. So, but what we were saying is, yeah, so you got those four trims, so that really hasn't changed. But on the Atlas Cross Sport here, you don't have that, because this is the more sporty version. And again, that is expensive, 52 to 62, but honestly, in Canada where we live, that is your mid-level price. That is your average price, which is terrifying. So really, at your mid-level price, you are, like I said, getting a budget Audi, and you can either pick the sporty one, which essentially you're going to not get that third row of seats, which really makes the Atlas really, really popular, because you do have a ton of space and practicality at that price point, because you're not putting a 500 horsepower engine in there. And that is one of the other things that changed. These always had a option for a 6-cylinder engine, naturally aspirated. that was good at towing. I want to say around 5,000 pounds. We'll look on the screen on there. But yeah, it was a great engine. Wasn't the best on gas. You know, wasn't as reliable necessarily as a Toyota or a Honda or something, but it was a pretty good engine, and you know, and that was a worry for a lot of people. So we'll try to test that out. But anyway, what they've done is they put that GTI 2-liter corporate engine that they have, and corporate sounds bad, but it's not, because Volkswagen is one of the biggest companies in the world and they have spent a lot of money on that engine. So is it perfect? No, again, it's not Honda or Toyota. That's their claim to fame for reliability. But what that engine is it is reliable. It's pretty good, but it's a ton of power and it sounds pretty good. So again, we'll look at that. So supposedly you're going to get around the same power. It's just a tiny bit, I think 4 horsepower less or something like that than the 6-cylinder. But because of the turbo and the way it delivers the power, you're actually going to be at least a second faster, I think, on your 0 to 60, same towing, and even better fuel economy. So, I mean, you can't really complain about that. Going to the back, you do have, it's the same chassis as before. So they haven't got some of the new, subframes and things like that. But this was always a good chassis. That was never a problem. And as they said, it always had a lot of space for what it was, for this segment. And the price point. So as you can see, the numbers really haven't changed there in the back, and the practicality we will take a look at as well for all the little things that Volkswagen does really well. And when you come to the back seats, as we said, this does not have the third row because it's got the sporty sloping rear roof line there, which kind of eliminates that. But what's changed right here, this is the electronic elephant in the room. So, we'll talk a little bit about this more. This has been a real sticking point for a lot of people with Volkswagen. I know they're working diligently on improving this for some of their newer versions coming out. But they have made slight improvements for this on the software. But really the only thing that, I want to mention now that people have a true complaint about is the fact that these touch sensor thingies here don't really light up. Now, is that frustrating? Is it maybe dangerous? I don't know. But to be honest, like, once you own this vehicle and you drive it all the time, like, let's be honest, you got heat here, and the volume control. I mean, you should know how to figure out how to find that and touch it, even when it's dark. So it does work pretty well, but again, we'll get into that stuff after. And of course, they've got this amazing digital gauge over here. Refresh seats, I think, maybe. Nonetheless, I love the color of them. And talking about the exterior color, one of the colors, at least with this Cross Sport, is this Fisher King Blue. Oh, I love it. And I guess that's a classic color. I'm not a huge Volkswagen buff, but I guess that's a color that comes out every 20 years or so and whatnot. So yeah, it's really, really, really great. What else to talk about here before we go on our first test is... the styling. Yeah, hello. So before we go to the outside, let's just quickly talk on the inside. So one of the things, again, and we'll get into this in a moment, but as you can see on the B-roll there, you have that really cool ambient lighting front and back, so everybody gets to enjoy it. It's really easy to use. You just pull down the menu here and you can adjust that. So that's awesome. And the outside, yeah, I really, is it gimmicky? Sure. With the illuminated badges on the front and back and the new lights and the light bar and everything, but I think it looks really, really good. Again, like I said, to me these look like a budget Audi. I like how low and wide they look, the Atlas, and again is also something to help make it drive good. So anyway, when we're talking about driving, let's go to our first stop on the way to the hockey arena, which is we got to get a coffee, right? You just got to be quiet back there. It's the only way to stay awake. All right, I'll see you there. Okay, so we are at a McDonald's here, and we're going to go through the drive-thru to see how much of a nightmare this thing is. Does it fit okay? Because it's kind of low and wide for an SUV. So let's give it a whirl here. I'm not sponsored by McDonald's, even though I like it a whole bunch. It's probably not the best for you, but hey, whoops, wrong window. All right, here we go. Let's give it a try. No, I'm not. Thank you. Can I just get a medium coffee with 1 cream?
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
It's $2.10 on your second window.
Perfect. All right. So good. So far, so good. All right, so it fit through there, no problem. Let's see if I can get up to the window here without scratching anything and be able to pay the people. All right, so Here we go. Yeah, it looks like a dummy window. So anyway, what to talk about in here besides the fact that we fit okay is this new infotainment here. So I wanted to show you that lighting really quick. So here, when you come to the main screen here, just like your phone, you just swipe down, you go to lighting, and here you can change the different lighting. We got the ambient on, you can put the different colors on. And the nice thing is, when you change some of this stuff here, it changes on both spots, which is like both screens, which is really, really cool. I don't know. It's a gimmicky thing, but it's fun for sure. Now, one of the things that we want to talk about, which we already mentioned, is the fact that these things don't light up, but you know, you do get used to them, and they do work a lot better. And one of the things that I like is, again, one of the things with the screens that people don't like a lot is the fact that your heating and climate controls don't have hard buttons, so you've got to go fish around for stuff that you use all the time. For heated steering wheel, it's right on here on the steering wheel, and for here, what you can do is they're shortcutted for the heated seats. You double tap the temperature button, and you can do the heated seats right there without having to go through the actual menu. So to me, again, that is something that's really nice, and it's configurable, which I think is cool too. So you've got this home screen, kind of like your phone, so you can move these things around, as you can see, or you can come here, widgets. I told the dealer I still live in the 90s and would like pagers to come back. So I hope I'm using the right terminology, but kind of like your phone, you can have a few things that you like looking at all the time. So for instance, here we got the map up. I've got the radio settings, telephone, but again, they are configurable, which I'll show you in a second. Let's pay for this coffee here and make sure I can get up to this window. All right, so let me get my wallet here. All right, so.
Hi there, 210.
Can I go Visa, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You too. Perfect. And fits. And one of the things with the Volkswagens is they have these little things here to make the cup fit in there nice and tight. So you get many different sizes. See, practicality, the Germans, yeah? Very good at that stuff. I don't even know what accent that was, but anyway, they're really good at it. As far as this leg of the journey goes, this passes just fine. So let's get on the highway and see how it is there. Okay, before we go do some of our other tests, while we're still in town here, let's get a little gas and talk about the new engine. All right. Okay, so we're pulled over to put a little gas in the Atlas here, and again, I love Volkswagen, the practicality. A lot of cars do this, but they do it well, which is a little spot for you to put the cap there, and it's a nice wide opening for you to get the actual gas knob in there. So we'll put that in here. It takes regular or premium, which is nice as well. Being the sportier one, a lot of these more premium engines will always take the premium gas, which nowadays is nice if you don't have to do that. So yeah, so let's pick here. Now, as we were doing this too, one of the things to talk about when we're putting the gas in here with that different engine is to concentrate on the 4-cylinder in the sense that it is going to be better on fuel, as you can see in the screen, than that V6. And you're not really losing out, definitely not on towing, and it's actually going to be faster 0 to 60, and we'll show you that when we pull out of this place. So here we go. Okay, as we said, we're leaving the gas station. We're going to give you the traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test so we can see how this goes from 0 to 60. And it is true Canadian weather, so this isn't really a great 0 to 60. Not that we ever actually technically do 0 to 60. It's just mainly to see, does this have some pep in your step? So here we go. So what we want to do is, because it's a Volkswagen, let's put it in sport mode because that's fun. And then I hear that we can hear the Golf R pumped in audio. So, you know, I don't have my Golf R, but I can get my Atlas and get my fun that way. So let's try. Okay, so it's in sport mode. I'll put this weird looking little shifter thing down into drive. All right, I think we're prepared. And here we go. 4Motion. Oh, this is a good test. I got it hammered. Woo! That 4Motion works really good. And we're hammering on the brakes. Oh! That's honestly the funnest brake test I've ever had. Pass. Okay, let's check out the highway. All right, so let's take this thing on the highway for our highway and handling test, because really this is where you're going to spend a lot of your time with something like this. All right, so first of all, how does it handle? Well, a little NASCAR style here on the corners, being the big 21-inch wheels on our cross sport here. Oh. it does handle really well. I mean, it's a giant SUV, right? Well, it's not giant, but it's a good size SUV. But as you can see, not a lot of body roll here, holds really firm. It really does feel low and wide to me, and I mean low for an SUV. Yeah, I really like how it handles there. How does it get on the highway though? All right, let's get some pep. We're late for that hockey practice. All right, that Audi wants to get in our way. He's jealous. Hey, we're doing what you're doing, but on a budget. So anyway, let's just go ahead and pass this guy to make sure we can do that. So yeah, so you got lots and lots of passing speed here. Absolutely no problem. You've got really good visibility. And this is a really windy day, so I'm going to be quiet here for a second. As you can hear, there is some wind noise. But again, this is a big blocky vehicle cutting through the air. Otherwise, it does sound pretty quiet in here. Like you can tell that they have done some effort on some noise insulation and whatnot. I don't know if that is one of their improvements, to be honest with you. If I can find the information, I'll put it on the screen on this refresh. But yeah, it definitely feels good that way. Now, just in general, how comfortable is this vehicle? Well, like I said, as a driver, I've got lots of different adjustment on the seat. This one happens to be in the high or the executive line here, like the highest trim. You've got memory seats, power seats, all that type of stuff. But the actual seats themselves are German, yeah. Try that accent again. And so, which means they're firm but comfortable. So they're going to keep you alert, but they're not punishing by any means. Those back seats, same thing. Even if it was the 3-row, which this one isn't, those back seats. Again, like you're going to get the short straw if you're stuck back there, but if you are, it's not that bad. And one of the things that this vehicle has and that it's improved on as well is you've got all the safety tech in the Atlas as well. So you've got like the lane centering and the lane keep, your blind spot monitoring, your cross traffic, all the companies call this stuff different, so I might not be using the right marketing terms, but this vehicle has all of that, and Volkswagen does a pretty good job. If you were to check out our GTI, or not GLI, sorry, that's the sedan version of the GTI, the hatchback. You can see there that those safety features and stuff work pretty good. Yeah, I quite enjoyed using them. Honda, I think, is probably my favorite, but these do work really, really well. So let's go to the next spot, which is the arena. All right, here we go. All right, so we're at our final test. We're pulling into the arena here, and I want to see how easy this thing is to turn around quickly and park. All right, so bump. See the suspension, we got it in comfort right now, and works pretty well. Okay, so quick turnaround test here. All right. That's tight. That's got to be as tight as my GTI, honestly. That's impressive. All right. Let's try to park in this little spot here. My giant SUV. All right. So first thing I want to say, though, when I put it into reverse here is this new screen. Cameras are really, really good. Now, this being the top model was the Atlas or the Cross Sport, you do have the full 360 camera, which is nice. So as you can see here, you've got all different perspectives and things like that. Which is pretty neat. But one of the things that I like, especially on an SUV, is the front camera. I think is really, really important. Reason being is sometimes people get a little intimidated, especially if you're coming out of a smaller vehicle into something like this, and they find it difficult to park, especially pulling in, or worried that they're going to run into something. So I think that's super handy. I wish more vehicles had that, and hopefully one day it will become standard feature like the backup cameras. All right, so let's try that again. All right, so we're going to put we even have a parking button down here. All right, that's nice. Ooh, I like that little haptic. So, not hard buttons per se, but they do work pretty good. Okay, so how do I just do normal parking here? I am not a technology person, so this is impressive. And I own a Volkswagen, so this is scary, but this is different. All right, so let's just try again. I'm going to put it in park. Now we're going to put it in reverse. Camera comes up. All right, nice dynamic lines. We're not going to do anything too fancy here. I just don't want to scratch this beautiful blue vehicle up. Oh, I'm sweating. This is nerve-wracking. Ooh, okay. All right. Hopefully there's no one in that school bus. And pass. No excuse not to take Moose into hockey. All right. Let's now lead to our final thoughts. Okay, it's final thoughts time. Now, we started off this episode by looking to answer the question if Volkswagen ruined the winning recipe they had by trying to keep up with the technological Joneses. Because as we said, this has always been an SUV and nothing else. It was never a lot of fun, but it was always really practical, easy to live with, and a great value. So as at least I saw throughout this test, it did everything that we needed to on the way to the hockey arena here. We got through the drive-through okay, we were able to go on the highway okay, we got gas okay, and we could park okay and do that sharp little turnaround. So now, as you can see, one of the most important things is we could fit all of our hockey equipment here, and Moose got here just fine in his baby seat. So I want to show off my athleticism, or a lack thereof, to be the final judgment on whether or not this vehicle is a sure shot at a sales success. So I'm going to go over there and try out my House League hockey skills. If I could score on Moose here, this is the net, well, it's a sure shot. And if not, well, sorry, Volkswagen. And maybe I don't play for Team Germany. Okay, so here we go. All right. So we have our foam hockey puck here. All right, we haven't taken a shot in years, so this should be interesting. Moose, watch your face. You're like the old school goalies. All right, here we go. This is nerve-wracking. I'm sorry, Moose. I really am. Well, that was pathetic and not at all Volkswagen's fault. This is still a great vehicle. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss what's coming up next, and check out one of our other awesome SUV videos so you get more cool cars like this one and our upcoming review. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.